Welcome to the MUMPOTO Nutrition Show. Today's topic is an exciting one. I'm excited because this is a lot that has to do with some entrepreneurs, what they're getting into, food processing and retailing. We're going to explore the development of nutritious, sensitive food value chains, and of course, to what extent the food chain actors are currently integrating the principles of the circular economy. And we have a panel, as usual, who are going to help me talk about this. But this is the MUMPOTO Nutrition Show.
Dear friends, the European Union is happy to bring to you the MUMPOTO Nutrition Debates and Facts. Through 5 episodes, we'll try to understand the biggest challenges and opportunities of Zambia's food system. Together with experts and actors from the ground, we will learn what a nutritious and balanced diet is and how it impacts our health, growth and well-being. We will cover all parts of the European Union Green Deal, moving to fairer, healthier and environmentally friendly food supply and consumption. Through our new programming 2021-2027 for Zambia, we aim to support the government and citizens in creating green partnership for sustainable recovery, growth and decent jobs, as well as in building fair, inclusive and peaceful society.
For what we are about to receive, may the good Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.
Amen.
It's amazing what one can do with what we have. There's nothing imported here. So we are grateful to the European Union for just reminding us and working with us in telling the farmers that we can get the necessary nutrition when we do the necessary agriculture through support that we get from cooperating partners and our own initiatives. I love my carpenter. Do you know carpenter? The small fish. It's a very, very small fish. I just love it.
I love vegetables and I always take a variety of vegetables. I just love vegetables. We are seeing in the health sector that we have a lot of non-communicable diseases which are caused by bad habits of eating and eating wrong foods.
My favorite is Chihuahua. It's very nutritious. Avocados, Zambian avocados. With tomato, I can eat every day. Yeah.
Now I know why you were scoring goals when we were playing football. This is very healthy. Where I come from in the Eastern Province, this MUMPOTO is common for most of the areas. It means in the pot. Really what we are looking at is how do we look at the processes from production all the way up to what we have in the pot and how we enjoy it. And there's a whole concept of the value chain here.
Currently, our fish has been depleted. So we are going into a program of aquaculture by trying to educate our people to start farming fish. It's not only just to look at income generating activities, but also to look at the component of nutrition value.
With our new programming for years to come, 2021-2027, we are really committed to support your efforts.
Attend team, let's drink.
Guys,
Attend team.
This is the MUMPOTO Nutrition Show. We are going to see what's in your pot, and we are going to see this via food processing and retailing. That is what we're talking about today. My panelists are going to be answering the question, how can food consumers opt for food from fair and inclusive value chains? And to help me talk about this, I'll start from the far end. I have Willa Zambezi, nutrition expert consultant from the Ministry of Health. Thank you for coming through. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
And next to her, I have Sande Silungwe, co-founder and director, marketing of Good Nature Agro. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, and pleasure to be here.
All right. I know you're between Eastern Province and Lusaka. Have you brought us some what? What's is it groundnuts? Groundnuts in Eastern Province.
I have a lot more. I don't want to disclose. I dug some.
Ladies, we're getting something from him after the show. All right, and next to Sunday, we have Iva. She is from the EU, another face that has become constant. How are you?
Yes, thank you. I'm very well. Nice to be again with you.
All right, thank you for coming through. And lastly, right next to me here, I have Stephanie Ennison, Chief of Staff at 260 Brand. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
All right, appreciate you being here. Let's start with what is a food system and what are food value chains? What are food value chains? Maybe Iva, you can start with us.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting question. I mean, the food system, people sometimes think this is like just simple the core, which is the production, the transportation, logistic, processing, and the marketing, but in fact it's so much more. We are talking about here also about waste and how waste is being handled, and there are different factors that address the food system, and that is also non-agricultural activities like energy, transport, and we have climate and climate change. It impacts the food system. So a farmer may think, yes, I am an actor of a value chain or of a food system, but in fact it's also so many other actors along the way that contribute positively or negatively to a food system. We have technologies that can impact on the food systems, and different consumer behaviors of what people prefer, what they want to buy, cultural beliefs, and social norms that can also influence how the food system reacts and interacts, or get disturbed, or it's sustainable.
Okay, all right. Stephanie, what are the strong and weak points in food value chains in Zambia? Because I know you're dealing with this daily.
Yeah. Well, smallholder farmers make up an enormous part of agriculture in Zambia. And so I come from 260 Brands, which is an off-taker. And for us, it's just really important to make sure that we get high volumes of the soya that we buy and a consistent and reliable supply. And so we do see there's a weakness, especially with regards to farm production at the smallholder level. There is definitely a huge challenge in access to affordable inputs for smallholder farmers. So that could be seed, fertilizer, crop protection, such as chemicals, farming implements, tractors to increase efficiency and really get the volumes that we need as an off-taker. There's also a huge challenge in terms of a reliable and consistent market for the smallholder farmer. In particular, getting a really good price from an off-taker. And so we're trying to combat that with the help of the European Union by offering inputs on credit to smallholder farmers, and then also training them on organic farming. So allowing them to understand how they can use natural methods and use the power of an ecosystem to actually produce their farm in a sustainable way, which at the end of the day does reduce the cost of farming for the farmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to comment on this one when it comes to issues of, when you just look, addition to what she said?
Yeah, I think it's a bit different from where I think Stephanie stands from, where we're from. We work with the farmers directly, and it takes a lot. I think some of the weaknesses that are there in the value chain are that actors like the small-scale farmers do not understand what really the end market wants. So sometimes they'll go out there and just purchase out of tradition, and then the standards are not known. So people like us come in, we are in the seed value chain, but then we've also extended into commodities. So we take time to make sure the farmers are producing exactly what the market wants by going to the market first and demanding their needs, coming back to the farmers and telling them that, and then also the quantities, and then making sure the standard that is supplied to the end customers, like 260, is standard. So adding on to that, we are looking at digitizing the whole of that system. So actors like farmers or the consumers, even the manufacturers themselves, can look into the platform, see what is needed, see what demand is there. On the output side, they see what standards are there and could even recommend what they need for the next year. And that way we have sort of a critical system that works. So some of those trends are like the farmers are, they're there on the ground, they're working, they have access to the land, they do get access to some crop, but sometimes it's, an issue of price, an issue of availability, stuff like that.
Okay. How's the EU supporting the nutritious, sensitive food value chains? Seeing at, it's like this whole panel has got, you know, from the production all the way to getting to the end product. But how is the EU coming in regards to support?
Well, the EU has set up a challenge fund, which we are implementing now from the beginning of 2020. I think it came on time with the pandemic, so we could support businesses to cope with different challenges ahead. But the idea of the challenge fund, the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund in particular, it's to support agribusinesses with the integration of smallholder farmers. I mean, like my colleagues sitting here, we provide grants to them. These are matching grants, which are requested also that the companies match them with 50% of their own funding, where we provide opportunity for smallholder farmers to be integrated into a value chain. And the idea of the Challenge Fund is to give an opportunity to these companies to create innovation, to create innovative ways of sustainable integration of the smallholders into the value chain, and to create a systemic change of the value chain. And we believe that working with Good Nature Agro and 260 brands, which are one of our beneficiaries, that we will be able to achieve this impact that we are aiming at.
Okay. Willa, a healthy diet is key to prevent any illness. We hear that a lot. And especially in the context with, you know, fragile healthcare systems, because you can't say the healthcare system is perfect, because the reality says otherwise. But how difficult is it for Zambians to find and identify that nutritious food?
Okay, so let me just start by saying that poor dietary patterns are very prevalent among Zambians. Okay, for example, 9 in 10 Zambians are not consuming the recommended daily allowance for fruits and vegetables. So already that's a problem. So some of the factors that are causing Zambians to have difficulty in identifying this is a lack of nutrition knowledge. You know, if you don't have the knowledge, you cannot make an informed decision. Okay. Another factor is conflicting information. Also, socioeconomic status. Sometimes, you know, people cannot have access to food if they have poor or low socioeconomic status. So those are some of the things that we should be looking into.
Okay. Is there enough demand for the private sector when you talk about, you know, creating nutritious, sensitive food value chains? Do we have those?
Yeah, I would say that we definitely see the demand there. Our company's value proposition is centered around being able to offer affordable nutrition to consumers. Just the other day, I was talking to our sales representative who was on the ground with a consumer, and that customer was saying that they like the golden goodness soya pieces because they offer a healthy protein. And so we do see that demand every day for nutritious food products. But I think what has been maybe a focus of ours is making sure that our consumers are educated on all of the health benefits that products offer. For instance, you know, a lot of our products offer vitamin A, but not everybody knows the benefits that vitamin A has, such as skin and hair health and eyesight. So we do try and put that on our label to explain those benefits. And I think that helps to create awareness for nutrition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now when you say soya chunks, is it why you chose to sit right next to these?
Yes. Yes. I'm very familiar with this right in front of me.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you, the demand in the private sector, do we have it?
Yeah, I think from us, if you look at it from traffic that comes to us demanding some of those crops either for processing or for takeoff. So just last year, I'll give you an example. We produced over 4,000 metric tons of different kinds of legumes. So soy being one of them, beans, cowpeas, groundnuts. All these are wiped off our floors, and it shows the kind of demand that's there. So that's from the side of the small-scale farmers producing so that they can supply an existing value chain. And then also from people that are knocking into our doors, just making sure that they can get supply for this year. That shows demand. So, you know, processors will come to us. The people that are adding value to the crops are also coming to us. So there is justifiable volume, or should I say justifiable demand for producing some of these crops. And then I think just to add a bit on the nutritional aspect, I think it's quite important that companies like 260 that are outside facing or customer facing have also a way of including their information into their products so that people can see them and see the value of buying them. Then it will build a bigger market. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This conversation is very interesting, and due to time, we're going to have to summarize it, and I think the EU would do that for us. What would be the takeaway point if anyone just joined this conversation right now? What wouldn't you want them to miss?
Well, I mean, I just want to say that, off-takers and smallholder farmers, they should work together for the value chain. They should be fair trade. Farmers should be offered right prices, and I also think that off-takers and like our grantees, they're also the right people to provide the necessary information and education to the consumer of nutritious food and different ways how this nutritious food can be prepared. Many times you have a nice recipe at the back of your product that says how you can use it, and people should look out for this. And as we said, we are all part of one food system. We should work together.
Very true. Next time we're going to look at those options for what you can do with what you've bought, so that you can cook something nutritious, something that will not just taste good, but it will also help you with your health. Thank you so much for coming through, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you coming through and just discussing this with us. Up next, food for today.
We started extremely small. Our first year we piloted with just 40 farmers. Our dream is that smallholder farmers are supported in every aspect of their business.
We have over 100 full-time employees now, and this last season we worked with 11,000 small-scale farmers and expect to work with 20,000 this coming year.
These are lives. This is why I think we don't just classify them as farmers. These are farmers that are really at the hub of all operations.
We are a social enterprise, impactful organization that really believes in the farmers that we partner with. We do a lot of outgrow schemes with our farmers.
In every field that they work, they have someone that's giving them quality advice. In down seasons, they have someone that's going to support them, that can help bring financial planning to the table, that can provide savings tools, that can help cover those down seasons that come for farmers everywhere in the world. Where it's still the farmer's choice if they come in or not, but it's available. And for a long time, it hasn't been in the areas where we work.
I'm very proud, especially on the part where I see my farmers progressing out of good nature seed. They harvest, sell, and build a good, nice house. I feel proud. I was working with these people. That's when they became like this. So I feel proud. I feel like there's much input in that. There's my input in them to progress.
The focus of what we're doing together is growing our farmer base through a model that we call Good Nature Source, where we're expanding from engaging seed growers to engaging commodity growers who are customers of our seed as well. We have worked with the European Union through this challenge to draft out what our growth path looks like and intend to reach 66,000 farmers by 2023.
Good Nature Agro, I would say, is definitely an exciting company to work with. So far, they've demonstrated they are up to the game in terms of understanding their business and the ultimate benefits that they want to deliver to the smallholder farmer.
being able to customize the data that we collect, to fit to purpose is absolutely powerful. So thanks to the EU, this is actually, Kellen, the biggest build in agriculture in Africa.
What the EU funds have allowed us to do is take this vision faster and farther, get more highly talented people into the company now to help us build this and do it faster than we ever thought. The goal is high touch and customized, personalized services for our farmers and getting them connected to that right market that's really reliable and year over year. It's not about just scalability and making us more efficient and good data-driven decision makers. That's good too, but that's not the driving purpose behind doing this digital transformation.
We have 4,000 farmers who are linked to the card right now, and we plan on having more, thanks to the EU funding. Our farmers are extremely happy because they do get their money in 8 days, and they also get that experience of being able to use a bank card and means access to something that belongs to you.
So the focus of the facility really, and where most of the money's going, is towards helping us develop tools that can maintain that deep engagement, whether we're with 60,000 farmers or the 40 that we started with, or the 1 million that we intend to reach over time.
Welcome back. You are still watching MUMPOTO Nutrition Debates and Facts. We are talking food distribution and processing. I have my next panel, and we will be talking and answering what is circular economy, what does it mean for Zambia, what does it mean in our country, and we'll be hearing about the experiences from our panel participants with me today. And I'll start from right here next to me. I have Piotr Sasin. He is Country Director, People in Need. Thank you so much for coming through. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, I appreciate you being here. And next to him, I have from Plastic for Change Zambia. She is the founder, Gladys Mwamba. Thank you so much for coming through. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Jody.
Okay. Right next to her, Paola Gasparini. How are you?
Fine, thanks a lot.
She is coming from the European Union, and I must say that this program has been brought courtesy of them, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And next to her, I was almost saying there's two gentlemen this time, at least there's some balance from the other one. Danny Chibinda, he is the Director Housing and Social Services from the City Council here in Lusaka. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right, the LCC is okay?
Yeah,
okay.
we're fine.
All right, thank you very much for coming through. And from Bongo Hive, and she is the project coordinator. She is also Social Enterprise Academy, Radia Mtonga. How are you? Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I appreciate you being here. Let's start with just defining what circular economy is and why it is key in our fight against climate change. You'd like to take that one? Start with you.
Yes. So, what is the circular economy is a different way of thinking consumption and production. Not only producing, consuming, and disposing, but try to increase the life of a product and materials. How? By reusing it, recycling it, or refurbishing, for instance. And in this way, you reduce the waste, final waste, but also you can increase the value added of a product before disposing it forever. Okay. So that is very important and has a clear impact, positive impact on climate. Why? Because less waste equal less gas emissions, for instance. And the longer life of product means also less pressure on natural resources. So less loss of biodiversity, for instance, less deforestation, and the better use of water, soil, and so on.
Okay. For the LCC, why is it key in our fight against climate change, the issue of, you know, the circular economy?
Yes, like my fellow panelist has indicated, we know that most of the greenhouse emissions do come from utilization of energy resources that are needed to produce whatever products that we need to use, and also, like she indicated, opening up of new forests or land where the emissions actually do take place. So we know that when we close the resource loops, where we don't have a lot of loss from the production and consumption cycle, we minimize how much, you know, greenhouse gases we emit, and also how much of the environment that we have to degrade to obtain raw materials.
All right, let's go to telling us how you know you contribute to circular economy, and that's for you, Radia, and give us some examples, obviously stemming from your experience.
All right. First of all, I'll start by saying we really do have a long way to go to get to the circular economy in Zambia, because we're primarily an import-export economy. Right now, we deal with the recycling part of the circular economy, and I started an initiative to incentivize the recycling of plastic waste. Yeah, and that's how I contribute to the circular economy. I do also do a lot of sensitization just to bring awareness on what is the circular economy, just demystifying what it is, and also like contextualizing it, trying to show people that it's not such a foreign concept. We can jump on it right here in Zambia, and we can contribute to it. Yeah.
Okay, and for you, Gladys, how does it speak to this? Your initiative.
Yes, well, we've been running Plastic for Change for over 2 years. And what is so interesting about Plastic for Change is that initially most Zambians did not know about the plastic equals value. So we had to create recycling points whereby members of the community would bring plastic waste in exchange for money or for other valuable things. So they do not now discard the plastic, because they know if they discard the plastic, another person will pick it and benefit from it. So that has changed the mindset of most of our people in our marginalized communities, where waste management is not managed well.
Okay. So how do we improve this situation then? You know, we're hearing these stories. How do we do that?
I guess we have an array of different solutions which we've been piloting and implementing at scales in different countries, and there's a lot of land, even in Zambia. So together with Lusaka City Council, we have been piloting, and we're still conducting a feasibility study on bringing biodigesters into the urban context, as it's been very successful in the rural ones. So the way this works, the biodigesters works like a stomach. So it's basically you need to feed it with organic matter, such as waste, organic waste, vegetable waste, food waste, human or fecal matter, animal fecal matter, and then it produces gas and organic fertilizer as a product. So together with Lusaka City Council, we've been working on a Soweto vegetable market which produces, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, 20-30 tons of organic waste per day, which is just staying on the landfills, on the local landfills, so it's being taken to Chunga, a landfill where it just produces enormous amounts of greenhouse gases. So by taking this waste and putting this into the biodigesters, we can produce the gas, which can be used then by the local food producers instead of charcoal, which is one of the biggest drivers to the forest degradation in Zambia. And on the other hand, we can produce the bio fertilizer, which will be used by producers of these beautiful vegetables to produce even more vegetable, which will be organic, which would taste better, which will mean that we're using less chemical fertilizer. So there are the solutions. They just need a bit of a regulatory framework, and they need commitment from different parties. But we believe that this can really work, and it can create a lot of jobs, decent jobs, where people would have social security, health insurance, and decent pay.
All right, how's the LCC coming in? Where do you fit in here to improve this situation?
Absolutely. So for us, we have these facilities that contribute to the generation of waste, especially markets. So our role is to provide support and space where such initiatives of putting up whether the biogas digesters or where we have containers, for example, for entities that are buying electronic waste and also plastic waste, so that they do not have to struggle to set up such kind of stations. So ours is to provide such kind of support.
What about
also the training to the traders, because we need to have them trained in issues of segregating waste, so that it's easier for those that would want to have the organic waste or the plastic waste. Yes.
Then when we look at the challenges in this sector, quite involving what I'm hearing right now, and you know, does it need a specific approach? I know you've touched on that a bit.
Yes, it does. I think from a regulatory framework, we have pieces of legislation like the Environmental Management Act, which talks about extended producer responsibility and polluter pays principles. But as everyone has observed, you do realize that we haven't had an institutional framework that brings together the various actors to ensure that what is prescribed in the law is implemented. So one way we can do that is have such kind of discussions and probably come up with ways in which the different stakeholders or different actors that are out there can collaborate and come up with initiatives to
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring in Raja here in terms of consumers' value addition to this waste. How's that going?
Consumers' value addition, I think before I get to that point, I'll also speak to his point in bringing the various actors. I'll say many of us on this panel met because we had to be on this show. And that's a big problem because a lot of people are working towards improving the circular economy, managing waste, but we're all working in silos and we don't know what each of the other person is doing. And so I think maybe one way to tackle this big problem is to get the players together, have some sort of forum that combines the public sector and the private sector, because the private sector plays quite a big role.
Are you coming in on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm adding because what you say is a bit what we want to do in the future. We want really to support this transition towards a green economy and a circular economy in particular through several approach, an integrated approach first of all, where we try to create an enabling a business environment with regulatory framework, actors speaking each other's, and then also supporting directly the private sector that plays an important role, especially SMEs, to with capacity building, services, financing. Like every other sector of private sector, circular economy needs this aspect. But we want also to add putting the dots together, like research and development, statistics, information, education for changing a behavior, not just a model of production.
No better way to end the show than with those remarks from the EU. Thank you so much for coming through, gentlemen and ladies. Appreciate for your interaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure. All right. This has been the MUMPOTO Show, Nutrition Debates and Facts. We've been talking food distribution and processing. Go to our socials, especially Facebook, get your question there and answer it, and you will win yourself a 1,000 kwacha voucher for groceries. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Judy Nguluwe.